Flex Lifer. Before we dive into today's episode, I have something new that I am really excited about. I am launching Stop Dieting Forever Friday, which is a new weekly companion, an email to the podcast, focusing on applying the ideas that you learn in the podcast every week and not just consuming them. So if you're already in my email club, you have been getting Forever Well Friday every single week. Now we're saying farewell to Forever Well Friday, and we are ushering in a new iteration of the newsletter, and it's now called Stop Dieting Forever Friday. Because if you're like me, you listen to podcasts and you hear things, you're like, oh, that's really good. That makes sense. I should probably do that. But as soon as you turn off the podcast, you go on about your life and you don't really take the time to implement what you've learned. Well, it is my desire and my vision that every single Friday in Stop Dieting Forever Friday, you will learn something related to the podcast of the week. So it could be a podcast summary. It could be practical takeaways from that episode. It might be some reflection prompts that you can use to understand your patterns a little bit more. It could be one step that you can do immediately to start losing weight. So if that excites you, I want you to go to jenniferdent.com/email club to sign up to be in line to get the first one. So the first one is going to drop on Friday, January 30th, if you're listening to this in real time. And if you're like, that sounds great, Jennifer, love you. I need more than a newsletter. I actually need real support. Good. I am opening up a small number of Forever Well private coaching spots for the upcoming month. You can go to jenniferdent.com/consult to learn more about it. All the links are in the show notes, and we're going to talk about in this week's episode how to eat more than 1,200 calories and lose weight at over the age of 40. All right, so let's get into it. Girl, if you're tired of losing the same 20 pounds over and over and over again, listen up. For years, I thought something was wrong with me. I kept promising this time would be different, only to find myself stress eating at the kitchen counter after a long, stressful day. I thought the problem was my body. I thought the problem was the diet I was on or my lack of discipline. But the truth, the real problem wasn't what I was doing. It was who I was being. When I finally stopped trying to fix my weight and started transforming my identity, everything changed. No more starting over on Monday. No more food guilt. No more feeling like I was fighting against myself. And now, that's exactly what I help my clients do. Welcome to Stop Dieting Forever, the podcast that helps you break free from self-sabotage, rewire your mindset, and reinvent yourself into the healthy, confident woman that you crave to be. I'm your host, Jennifer Dent Brown, certified life and weight loss coach, and I'm here to show you how to finally stop dieting forever. You ready? Let's dive in. If you're like me, Generation X, born in the 70s or the 80s, you learned that eating 1,200 calories a day is you being good because you've got to track everything. You skip some of your meals so you can stay within that calorie budget, but you are struggling in the afternoon. You are tired at night. You can't drag yourself out of bed in the morning, and you're obsessed about what you're going to eat, what you can't eat. When's the next time you can eat? Are you going to eat too much? Have you had enough? And then all of that drama and the scale still is not moving. Or even worse, you're doing all that and the scale is going up. Terrible, right? You may be falling asleep at your desk at 2:00 in the afternoon. And you know what I'm talking about. You know those afternoons that you're sitting at your desk, you're looking at your computer, and your head is just bobbing. Eyes are dropping, head is bobbing. You're trying to stay awake. Or even worse, you're like in a meeting, in an in-person meeting, and you put your head down as if you're going to take notes, and you're holding the pen in your hand. And the next thing you know, you're like drawing a line down the side of the page because you're falling asleep. That is terrible. And you can't stay awake during your afternoon meetings. Or it's terrible when you get home in the afternoon or in the evening and you are so exhausted that you can't even think about preparing the food that you had planned, and you end up door dashing your dinner once again, still wearing your work clothes, too exhausted to even like take your clothes off. And you think that you just need to be more disciplined. You think, okay, I first start tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to be so strict. I'm going to do this. I'm going to only eat this. And you think if I just track more, if I get my girlfriend to be an accountability buddy, like I can do it. Mm-mm. Not, no, being more restrictive is working against you. Because what if the problem is that you're not actually eating enough of the right foods to actually fuel your over 40 body? Here's the thing, and this is why this hits so differently after the age of 40. You're like me. I'm a child of the 70s. I grew up in 73. You are Generation X. So you grew up in the 70s and the early 80s, right? You grew up in the era of less is better. Slim Fast, do you remember that diet? The 1,200 calorie meal plans were all the rage. Fat free everything, fat free cheese, fat free yogurt, fat free crackers, fat free cookies. The message was clear. If you wanted to lose weight, you had to eat less. And for decades, that was seared into our brains. And for a while, that may have worked for you in your 20-year-old body. But here's the thing. After the age of 40, your metabolism, it may feel like it's like a slow fade after you hit 40, because suddenly that 1,200 calorie mark that you used to hit so easily when you were younger, it now feels like this rigid ceiling of like, I'm adhering to 1,200 calories, but I'm not losing weight. And you're doing everything that you used to do, but nothing is working. Listen, you are not alone in this struggle. I did some research, y'all, because I was like, I know I'm not the only one, and my clients aren't the only ones. Research shows that 73% of midlife women report a dissatisfaction with their weight. And that dissatisfaction drives us straight to what? Ultra low calorie diets. Because that's what we grew up on. That's what's seared into our brains. That's what we think we need to do. And unfortunately, about 13% of women over the age of 50 are now experiencing symptoms of disordered eating. This is not how we want to be living the rest of our years. This is not how we want to finish out. This is not how we want to experience our grown woman era. And get this. 56% of Americans, shout out to all my international folks, my international listeners, but 56% of Americans, and probably you Canadians too, right? 56% of y'all try to lose weight every year by eating less food. That is the most common method reported. Why? Because we have been conditioned to believe that restriction is the answer. But listen to me here, my friend, my dear, dear Lux Lifer. Eating more than 1,200 calories and losing weight is possible. And it's not only just possible, it's actually better for your body, for your hormones, and for your muscle mass. So I want you to undiet your brain. Generation X, undiet your brain. I want you to stop thinking that the goal for you to lose weight is more restriction, and I want you to replace that with optimization. Less restriction, right? That's not the goal. The goal isn't more restriction. The goal is optimization. Because when you're chronically under eating, especially over the age of 40, your body doesn't say, oh, great, let's burn fat. Your body says, oh, shit, we're in a famine. Shut everything down. We got to conserve energy. We don't know when the next meal is coming. Hold on to the fat. Hold on to the fat stores. And what happens is your metabolism slows down, your thyroid downregulates, and your body starts breaking down the muscle tissue, which we need to keep. Because your muscle is metabolically expensive right now and survival is the priority. So it's like, oh, we cashing in on this muscle. I know it looks good and I know it does some important things in your body, but we need to cash in on this right now. And that's what we don't want. So the thing that you're doing to lose weight is eating less. It's actually helping you stay the same size or even gain weight. And I want you to think about it's not just about how much you're eating. I know we've got to deprogram our dieter's brain. It's not just about how much you're eating, it's about what you're eating and how those foods affect your energy, your hormone, and your body's ability to function. Nobody taught us that in the 80s and the 90s, but I'm teaching you this now. The food that you're eating isn't giving you energy, it's making you tired. And when you're eating 1,200 calories of the wrong foods, I'm talking about the bags of the little chip pea snacks that are 100 calories, the popcorn, the Chloe Cloud protein popcorn. Those are ultra processed, quote unquote, healthy snacks. They've got sugar, right? Anything that's got barbecue flavoring has sugar in it. And they're all low protein. So you're eating the wrong foods and you're underfueling your body and you're actively working against your body. Now, here's the solution. It's not just counting calories. I have never, ever, ever taught my clients to count calories, ever. I have been a health coach since 2014. Stop Dieting Forever was built on we don't calorie count because all that does is reinforce the dieter's mindset. And so I'm here to help you undiet your brain. Because when you're trying to count calories and you're going online and you're doing all those little complicated calorie calculators that tell you put in your weight, put in your height, put in your level of activity, da 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 da, and it gives you all these like how many calories you should be eating to be in a deficit, blah, 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 blah. What? BS, right? It's waste of time. It's all that is doing is reinforcing this need, this desire to restrict. And to someone who is a yo-yo dieter, chronic dieter, that is a no-no for our mental health. It's a no-no. And really, there's no calorie calculator that's going to replace learning how to listen to your body and give it what it needs. So what I teach is creating an energy eating plan based on bio-individuality. Sounds fancy, but it's really, really simple, y'all. Bio-individuality is the idea that there is no one size fits all approach to health because your body has a unique biological blueprint. And let's also talk about your environment, your cultural requirements. There's stress levels. There's so many different things that go into how your body processes food. And so when it comes to calorie counting, this is why two women of the same age, same height, same weight can eat the exact same 1,600 calories and have completely different results. That is why your sister can do this plan over here and lose 10 pounds in 10 days. And your auntie can do this plan over here and oh my goodness, she done lost 40 pounds. And you do the same thing and you end up gaining weight. I want you to think of bio-individuality as your body's personal operating system. So the goal is for you to shift the focus away from trying to operate your system from restriction. And I want you to optimize your operating system. So what I want you to learn today is how you're going to fuel your body effectively. If you cannot stay awake during your afternoon meetings, I want you to ask yourself, what did I eat 2-3 hours ago? What did I eat for lunch? Or if you are crashing on the couch at home at 8 o'clock at night, I want you to ask yourself, what did I just eat for dinner? Right? Your body is always telling you, it's constantly sending you text messages. It's always telling you what works and what doesn't work. But what you don't know how to do is learn how to listen to it and learn how to pay attention because so many of you have been operating in chronic distress. You're used to being exhausted on the days where you have to commute into the office. You're used to being tired by lunchtime because you didn't have enough to eat for breakfast. You think that's normal, but it is not. Your body's constantly sending you text messages. You have to figure out how to listen to them and how to give it what it needs. So here's what I want to teach you today, and this is what I teach my clients. Now, y'all know, if you're a dieter from the 80s and 90s, you know the good food, bad food columns. You know the red light foods, the green light foods. You know the eat this column, don't eat this column, right? You're very familiar with that line of thinking. I created this energy foods framework to help you undiet your brain to move away from, oh, this is good food, this is bad food. Okay. We're assigning food based off of the energy that it gives you. And this is going to be different for everyone. My energy food plan is not going to look like your energy food plan. All right. So this is what I want you to do. Grab a piece of paper. You're going to draw 3 columns. On the top of one column on the left, energy foods, right that at the top. These are the foods that give you sustained energy. But here's a catch. These aren't the diet foods, the quote unquote good foods that you've been taught to eat. You're going to be tempted to put that there, but that's not just what goes in those columns. These are your foods. These are the foods that make you feel good. These are the foods that keep your blood sugar stable and give you consistent energy throughout the day. And so for one woman, that might mean French fries and a grilled chicken salad. For another, that might be fried eggs and avocado. For someone else, that might be a protein smoothie. You get to decide what foods go in the energy foods column. And I challenge you to put some foods that you wouldn't normally think are energy foods in that column just to see how they react in your body when you have them. Okay, that's your energy foods, column 1. Middle column, you're going to write fun foods at the top. Now, these are the foods that you enjoy, but they may not give you sustained energy. So maybe they're a little bit heavier, a little bit more indulgent. They are not bad foods. These are the foods that give us probably the most pleasure, but they're just not your everyday fuel. So for some people, that might be French fries. For some people, that may be a margarita, glass of wine, 2 glasses of wine. For some people, that may be sourdough bread. It may be Ezekiel bread, right? You get to decide, but you have to put those foods and be honest with yourself and put them in the fun foods column. Now, the no foods, this is the easy one. This is usually where I tell my clients to start here. These are not forbidden foods. These are not like, ooh, anything with sugar goes in the no foods column. No, these are the foods that just don't serve you, like foods that your body is like, oh, hell no, we don't like this. Don't give this to us again. Right? The foods that make you feel really sluggish and mess with your digestion. I have almonds in my no foods column because I have a sensitivity to almonds. They make me itch and give me the willies. So I don't eat almonds, right? So those kind of foods go in the no foods column. But here's what I want you to make sure you understand. You decide what goes in each column based on how your body responds, not what a diet told you from 1992, not what worked for your friend, what works for you now. And here's the beautiful thing about this. As you age, as your hormones change, the foods that you have in your energy foods column, your fun foods column, your no foods column, you're going to start moving stuff around because your body's not going to react the same way to foods as it used to back in the day. So when I came up with this concept, homegirl had French fries on her energy foods column. Love French fries, used to eat them weekly. When perimenopause hit, I was still eating my French fries weekly, but they were not leaving my body as quickly as they used to. So now those French fries no longer are on my energy foods, they're on my fun foods. And that's okay. I am okay with that. But once you understand this energy foods concept, it carries you through every phase of your life, no matter what hormonal state you're in. So one of my Forever Well private clients, she's in her late 50s. And if you're new to the podcast, Forever Well Private Coaching is my 6-month private container for women over 40 who want sustainable weight loss through a functional, lifestyle-based approach that supports your hormones, your habits, and your real busy life. So my client is incredibly busy, but I applaud her. She shows up to her calls every week on time because she has prioritized herself and makes that time for herself. But she is in a busy season. And a lot of my private clients, they have busy seasons at work. And so she's in a season of patient calls all day. And then there's these back-to-back Zoom meetings multiple days during the week. And so this is a kind of schedule where you like barely have time to breathe, let alone think about what you're eating. And one of our coaching calls, we were talking, and she was just saying how tired she was, and she was falling asleep on the couch every night. And she thought the problem was like she just needed to be more disciplined. She needed to get up in the morning and do her exercise because that gives her more energy. And she was just telling herself, like, I just need to do these things and be more disciplined, which is what all of my high achieving women think. Like, I just need to have more control. I just need to be more disciplined. I'm lovingly telling you, discipline is not always the answer. So when we started to pay attention to what she was eating, the pattern became very clear. So on Tuesdays, she has to go into the office. So she works from home. Many of my clients have the same work from home, but got to go into the office a couple days a week scenario now. So on Tuesday, she's got to go into the office. And lucky for her, when she goes into the office, there's usually some type of catered lunch. And normally, there's no control. She doesn't know what's going to be on the menu, but usually it's a bunch of fun food, right? French fries, chicken fingers, things like that. The kind of food that just knocks you out for the entire afternoon. But this particular day, the rep brought Greek chicken kebabs with rice and lettuce. And so she said she made herself a plate. She made her 2 chicken kebabs. She got her protein. She said, I had a little bit of rice because she was like, I know if I do too much of the white rice, it's not going to be supportive of me in the afternoon. And she said she gave herself a lot of the vegetables. And she told me she was full, she wasn't tired, and she was not in a sugar insulin-induced coma. And so for the first time in weeks, she had energy in the afternoon in the office. She could think clearly. She could stay present in her meetings. And that was so empowering to her. Just to be paying attention to her lunch choice changed the whole trajectory of her afternoon. Think about it, y'all. The days that you have to go into the office for work, you have 4 or 5 hours in the afternoon. And when you're tired, you're losing that productivity time. You are losing time because you can't focus. You're tired. All you're doing is thinking about when can I get the heck out of here because I'm tired and I want to go home. But when you have energy and your brain is still focused and functioning, you can get shit done and you can leave the office feeling like you had a really good, productive day. So a few days later with this same client, she was working from home and then she had a evening Zoom meeting. And she said the second that meeting ended, she was out cold on the couch. She said, I just fell asleep. I don't even remember falling asleep. I was so tired. I just laid my head down. She said she woke up hours later and she was like, the TV was on, the computer was still on. Like, what was happening? So we talked about it and I was like, well, one, what was your day like? So understanding her stress load, her emotional load for the day, what was happening at home. And I was like, well, what did you eat for dinner? Whole wheat pasta with turkey meatballs and tomato sauce, right? Sounds very healthy. If you grew up in the 80s and 90s, that's low fat. That was good. That was the stuff that we ate, right? Whole wheat pasta, low fat. Turkey meatballs, low fat. Tomato sauce, no fat. But what it is sugar and processed carbohydrates after a long, stressful day. Her insulin spiked and her body was like, enough already. And it just shut down. And this is what happens when you don't eat for energy. And this is the beauty of bio-individuality, right? Your body's always giving you feedback. So on one hand, she got amazing feedback from her lunch meal that one day. So we changed her energy eating plan. And she got some other feedback from her dinner that day. And we altered her energy eating plan. And so this is what an energy eating plan can help you see. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, Jennifer, like, I still need to count my calories. I still need to figure out, even if I have all these foods in these columns, I still need to figure out, I don't want to eat more than 1,200 calories because then I'm going to gain weight. And I get it. It is terrifying to not have a plan to follow, to not have strict rules and regulations and guidelines to follow. Because let's be real, like my perfectionist, my type A's, who I love dearly that come to me thinking I need to follow the plan. Eating in this type of way is scary because you have been used to counting calories and eating in a very, very specific way for so long. But here's what I want to tell you, grown woman. If you're falling asleep at your desk or you're falling asleep in the afternoon, you can't make it through an afternoon without taking a nap or nodding off, or you're falling asleep when you're commuting home from work, or you're too tired to even cook the dinner that you made, that you had prepared for dinner, and you end up door dashing again another night. Your body is screaming at you that it doesn't need more restriction, it needs more fuel and it needs more energy. And when you give it the right fuel, and I'm not just talking about more calories, I'm talking about the right kind of food for your body, everything begins to change. Your energy will come back, your metabolism will wake up, and your body will start working with you instead of against you. So, yes, you may see a slight uptick on the scale initially as you start following this plan because your body is now restoring glycogen and it's rehydrating. But that is not fat, y'all. That is your body healing. And if you're worried about the day-to-day weight fluctuations, I have many podcasts where I talk about using your weekly weight average to track your progress. In fact, the most recent one was a couple of weeks ago. I will put a link in the show notes to that episode. Oh, it was how to be unrecognizable in 2026. But here's the most important thing. So yeah, the scale may wobble a little bit, and that's okay. But most importantly, other than the number on the scale, because that's not the end all be all, you're going to feel different. Your energy levels are going to be more stable. You will not feel sleepy in the afternoon. You will have energy in the afternoon, and you will be able to sleep better at night because your body is like, okay, now we can rest. You will be able to think clearly and show up fully for your life. And isn't that worth more than an arbitrary calorie number? You all have got to stop giving a number on the scale, a number in your calorie tracker, all of this power. You're giving away your power. And the goal is not to eat 1,200 calories forever because we already know that doesn't work. Because you tried that in the 90s and it doesn't work. So, and especially is going to work against you in your 40s and your 50s when you're in perimenopause and menopause and postmenopause. So the goal that I have for you, my wish, my vision, my prayer for you is to become a woman who knows exactly what her body needs and gives it to herself without the mind drama, without the food obsession, without beating yourself up or trying to depend on willpower or your accountability buddy to be like, okay, girl, I got to share my app with you so you can keep me on track. You don't need that. You don't need that. And if this resonates to you and you're like, I don't want it, Jennifer, I don't want it. This is what I want you to do. I want you to sign up for Stop Dieting Forever Friday at jenniferdent.com/email club. Again, this is the new weekly companion to the podcast where we're going to focus on applying some of the ideas that I talk about in the podcast. So you're not just consuming them, you're actually learning how to stop dieting forever and implementing that into your real life. And this isn't about you being perfection. I know my type A's are like, okay, give me the plan, give me the steps. I got to do it exactly. It's not about you getting it perfect. Okay. This is about you paying attention to what your body is telling you. And when you become a master at that, then you will lose weight and become the person that keeps it off, period. If you're realizing like, okay, I got the podcast, love the podcast, the newsletter sounds good, but I still need more support. If you're someone who's like, I need somebody to hold my hand. I need someone to help me analyze my patterns. I need somebody to tell me what the heck is optimizing my hormones. How do I even do that? I need someone to help me figure out what my body needs because I'm so confused about all of the diet rules and things that I've heard and the research that I've done. I don't even know whether I'm coming or going. That I have Forever Well for you. I have Forever Well private coaching spots that are open for the upcoming month. And you can apply for one of them at jenniferdent.com/consult. The link is in the show notes. But this is, again, my 6-month high touch coaching where we do that deep work. We're not just talking about what to eat. We're talking about why you're eating what you're eating, what your emotional load is at work, what your emotional load is at home. And we're also talking about, and I'm teaching you about identity based weight loss and who you need to become to not just lose the weight, but to be that person that keeps it off and maintains your results forever. If that is you, reach out, apply for one of these spots, and let's talk. All right, y'all, live Lux. And I will see you, Stop Dieting Forever Friday, when you sign up for the newsletter. And I will see you in the next episode.